Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. I have Louie with me today and we are doing a woodland collab. In today's video I have two projects for you. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this willow wreath and make a beautiful centerpiece. The next thing we're going to do is grab this gorgeous grapevine wreath. Look Louie, we both fit. And we are going to do a woodsy type of wreath with it that's perfect for winter and Christmas. Before we get started, I wanted to mention who's going to be participating in this amazing collab. Starting with Ray from One Way Designs 238, Jenny from Lovely Moments Creating, Aria, DIY with Aria, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY, and the lady who brought us together for this collab is my very sweet friend Barbara from Country Lily DIY Decor. So thank you, Barbara. And by the way, the playlist for this collab is going to be in the description box and also underneath in the comments pinned to the top, so it's easy for you to click and see what fantastic DIYs all of these creators have made for us. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's go over the supplies for this wreath or a centerpiece if that is what you choose to make it. I'm using a willow wreath form. Then I did pick up some of these beautiful frosted little picks from Joann's last year after Christmas. Two of these are little pine picks. These are more like Christmas tree branches and I have 3 of those. To give it a little bit of pop of white, I only have this branch, but I'm going to stretch it out throughout the wreath. And then I have this one that has little kind of like pearls and little gems. Look at the details. I'm going to spread this beautiful pig throughout the greenery. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my picks apart. Now that everything is separated, it's time to attach it to our wreath form. Starting with the largest branches or the ones you have the most, start inserting. Before I brought in the white accents, I looked at my wreath and felt like it was sparse in a few places and I just did not have enough of that greenery to fill that in. So guess what? I'm bringing in some more beautiful frosted greenery. Next thing I'm going to do is cut these branches up and I'm also going to cut them in half, just like that. Look how much I got from that one bushel. Now I'm going to go ahead and start filling everything in and then I'm going to hot glue things in place before I add on the white additions. Now that I have all the greenery attached, next thing I'm going to do is hot glue everything in place. I'm just going to go from the side and hot glue everything in. Next, I'm going to hot glue from the center to get the branches that I couldn't get from the outside. This is so exciting. The centerpiece really came together nicely. And now it's time to put in the berries. Now that the berries are in, I'm bringing in the beautiful pearls and little crystals. And they're going to go in between the berries. They're going to be gorgeous. I'm done with this wreath and now all that's left is to hang it up or put a little candle inside. And I hope you enjoyed how simple and easy this was to put together. Let's go over the supplies for this wreath. I have some beautiful greenery, and for the rustic part of this wreath, I have these Jingle Bell picks that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I cannot wait to add these to the wreath. Some Wintery willow branches. Then for a very soft effect, I do have some greenery. It has a little shimmer on it, and the branches have little tiny leaves, and I wanted that specifically to work together with this beautiful greenery. Look at the frost on this one, and it has the little berries. Perfection. So this is going to be our main greenery for this wreath. For ribbon, I'm going to be using 3 different kinds, all 1.5 inch in diameter, all wired. Description of where I got them is going to be in the description box below. But look how beautiful this green one is with some pine cones and branches. And then I have a correlating one that's gray with the same print. It's going to be so pretty. For the base of this wreath, I'm using an 18-inch Grapevine Wreath. The first thing I'm going to do is grab my wire cutters and go around the wreath, clean it up a little bit. If you see anything sticking out, sometimes on these, they're just branches that are sticking out of place, so just clean it up a little bit on the sides. If you can tuck something in, definitely tuck it in. And now let's get started. The base is ready. Let's get all the greenery ready. For the Wintery willow, I'm going to keep 3 branches together. I'm going to take 2 of them off, and I'm going to do the same thing to the second branch. The frosted greenery is going to go in between here and there, so I'm going to separate all the little branches. For the main greenery, I'm going to take all the branches off the main stem. Now I'm going to take each branch halfway through. I'm going to cut it close to the branch here, just like that. If you're wondering where I get my wire cutters, I usually have that in the description box below, and you can also find it in my Amazon store under wreath supplies. Before we go to the next step, I wanted to talk about the game plan for this wreath. We are going to have a big bow in the center and cascading greenery from the center going down. You can also do the same thing with the center being on the side or bottom cascading up, but for this wreath, I wanted to do a bow on top and cascading greenery. Because we are going to have cascading greenery, meaning one side and the other is going to get filled, the next step I'm going to do is actually I'm going to take all my greenery and divide it in half, so that when I'm doing one side and then mirroring the other side, we're going to have enough greenery and it's going to look very similar. I have everything ready to go, but before I get started, I wanted to kind of have an idea where my center is going to be. And I have this branch right here that kind of cuts off this roundness. So I'm going to make this the center so that the bow can take care of this. I'm going to work from the side just because it's going to be easy for me to see where everything needs to go. Starting with the Wintery willow that has the 3 branches attached, I'm going to bend it to the wreath itself and see where I want it to go. Some hot glue, and I'm going to attach it in place. Grabbing my frosted greenery, one of the stems, the berries are on top, so I'm going to attach them towards the top. Grabbing the other greenery, a little bit of berries here. This is what we have so far. Next, I'm just going around and hot gluing all the branches in place, bringing in our soft little frosted greenery. Work it in between. Try to go in a zigzag pattern so everything gets filled in. A little busier. Then the 2 pieces that are left over, going to spread out, bend it a little bit, and I want one on this side also. And now the jingle bells. I decided to actually take them apart. Some towards the top and in between my willow, and some on this side. Now that I have one side done, I'm going to go ahead and hot glue everything in place that I have not hot glued yet. Make room for the bow and start on this side. So basically just mirroring it. Here is what we have so far. I think it looks so beautiful. But now it's time to make the bow to go in the center. To make the bow, I am going to be using the bow maker, and it's in my description box and in my Amazon shop. I actually have 2 different sizes there. Grabbing the 2 dowels, I'm going to put them in the center right here, right next to each other. Then for the ribbon, I'm going to go dark green, white, and then the gray. The way this bow is going to go is the first layer is going to be at 5-inch loops, then 4-inch loops, then 3-inch loops. We want that bottom part to be really taken care of, so I'm just going to do the tail at about 7 inches. You could always cut it down. And I'm going to make 6 loops total at 5 inches. This is a single-sided ribbon, so in the center, I'm going to twist, measure off 5 inches, twist in the center again, go to the other side, 5 inches, and I'm going to repeat this until I have 6 loops. I'm on my 6th loop, going to measure off about 7 inches and cut off the ribbon. Next, I'm going to be using the white ribbon. Now, while it looks like it's one-sided, it's actually 2 sides. This one is a little matte and this one's a bit shiny, so I'm going to be using the shiny side and still going to twist in the center. And this time, I'm going to make my loops at 4 inches. So a little smaller. I'm going to move these guys to the side so I can see my measurements here. At 4 inches, twist. And I'm going to do 6 loops for this one also. I have my 6 loops, measuring my 7 inches again, and I keep on pushing it down in the center. Measuring a 7-inch tail, we're going down to 3-inch loops, twist in the center. This is going to be adorable, you guys. And on this one, I'm going to do only 4 loops because that's the center one. They're getting smaller, so we're just going to do 4 loops, twist. But then we are going to do an extra loop for the center. So I'm going to twist and make a tiny little loop. That one we're just going to fold up, and there's our tail. At this point, I'm grabbing a zip tie. It needs to be at least 6 inches in length because you want to make sure it gets all of those layers. And I'm going to start zip tying while it's still on here because this ribbon is high quality, which means it's kind of thick and I don't want it to fall apart. Let's lift it. That looks good to me. I'm just tightening the zip tie, cutting it off. This is what you should have so far. And now it's time to attach it to our wreath. At this point, you can get a floral wire. You could get whatever you want. I'm grabbing a zip tie and I'm going to find the center. Feed that through. Okay. Now I have my bow. I'm going to zip tie it in place. And this part is going to go in the back and clip off the excess. Going to take care of the tails. You can either just cut them on an angle or you can do dovetails. I decided to do dovetails because this is really beautiful quality ribbon. Folding the tail in half and cutting a little triangle off, going from the center towards the outside. Now it's time to open up our bow. Starting from the bottom, we're just going to start fanning everything out, opening from the bottom, going towards the top. Now the white layer. And now the beautiful gray. And the center one, we're just going to puff that out and kind of push it down. And now we're going to work on our tails. And this wreath is done. Look at this beautiful, beautiful bow. To hang this wreath, I'm grabbing a piece of jute cord. And because my zip tie is super strong, I'm just going to go in that space in between. And then I'm going to tie it off. I'm not laying the wreath down because the bow is taken care of. So I'm just going to make a few knots and we're going to have a hanging loop. Cutting off the excess, the knot goes in the back and we have a hanging loop. What do you guys think of this beautiful woodland wreath? I love the little element of the bells. The bow's beautiful, and the best part is you can carry this wreath throughout your holidays and into the winter. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click on that little link so you can go and see what the other creators did in this collab. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to their channels. With that being said, thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you in our next video. Right, Louie? Bye, guys. Mwah!